Welcome to MojoPlays, and today we are looking at some pretty damn bad rip-offs of the much-beloved monster hunting series. No, not Monster Hunter. These are 10 shameless Pokemon knockoff games. Not all of these are terrible, some are actually quite bloody good, but they're all pretty open about what they're doing, stealing an idea. Let's do it. Before we continue, we publish content all week long, so be sure to subscribe and ring the bell to get notified of our latest videos. Little Masters. We're starting off with a proper hardcore ripoff. Little Masters is basically a carbon copy of Pokemon, but without any of the charm or depth. Available on the iPhone, it shamelessly borrows from Pokemon Ruby and Sapphire on the Game Boy Advance, right down to its monster designs and naming. One creature, Warmander, is literally a lizard with a flame on its tail. Sound familiar? Honestly, I half expected it to start singing Gotta Catch 'Em All in MIDI. The game mimics Pokemon's elemental types and mechanics, requiring you to catch, train, and battle monsters to become champions. But unlike Pokemon, it lacks a story and severely limits play with stamina restrictions, making progression painfully slow. So slow I think my phone aged 5 years just watching me wait. By the end, the only thing you'll be mastering is patience, or rage quitting. Dragon Warrior Monsters. Dragon Quest may predate Pokemon by a decade, but the developers must have been Pokemon fans when they came up with their totally original spin-off, Dragon Warrior Monsters. The game truly is basically Pokemon, but with fewer snacks and more random warp nonsense. The story centers on reuniting with your sister by winning a monster tournament and raising the strongest team possible, because nothing says family bonding like blood sport. One of the biggest differences is actually quite annoying. Neglected monsters resent you and disobey commands, especially against final bosses, leaving you wondering if the monsters are plotting a coup while you blindly figure out weaknesses and deal with no health bars. Monster Rancher. As you'll see, Monster Rancher is one of several monster capture games released in the 90s alongside Pokemon. Like other monster raising titles, players train their creatures through a series of minigames to compete in tournaments and climb the ranks. I hate to make the same joke as the last entry, but it's basically Pokemon with slightly more paperwork. Okay, no more basically Pokemon butt jokes. The difference with Monster Rancher and the previous two entries is that it's actually quite fun. What makes Monster Rancher truly enjoyable is the focus on bonding and training your monsters outside of battle, because apparently monsters need therapy too. Nexomon Extinction.
Together we have thrived for many generations. Together, we have risen against every odd and hardship. This world is built over millennia of friendship, loyalty, and love.
Labeling Nexomon Extinction as just a Pokemon clone doesn't quite do it justice. Calling it a clone is like calling a smartphone a fancy calculator. While it borrows nearly all the familiar mechanics from Pokemon, there's a case to be made that it delivers a more engaging take on the formula. Its stamina system encourages players to rotate their team instead of relying on a single core lineup. The lively cast of characters adds depth and energy to the story, though a few of them feel like they were pulled straight from a Saturday morning cartoon. The Nexomon themselves are thoughtfully designed, and the witty dialogue injects plenty of humor. Don't be surprised if your new companion makes better jokes than you. Or me, I guess. Please don't fire me, Mojo. Monster Crown. With over 200 creatures to tame and a robust breeding system that allows for endless combinations, you could spend hours creating monsters in Monster Crown that look like they were designed by a committee of caffeine-fueled toddlers. It's been shown that Monster Crown isn't everyone's cup of tea, but the familiar Pokemon mechanics like battles and trading make it easier to digest. Well, at least easier than explaining to your friends why you just fused a slime with a dragon. Pixel Monsters Go. Pixel style Pokemon? Makes sense. Mix a little Minecraft with a little Pokemon, and sure enough, kids are going to eat it up. But then you get the avalanche of imitators. Pocket Pixelmon, Pocket Pixelmon Go, Catch Pixelmon Go, Pixel Monsters Go, Pixelmon Craft Go, and countless more. At this point, it feels less like a trend and more like a global naming contest for who can add Go to everything. That's when it became painfully clear. Just about everyone had jumped on the same idea and creatively had clearly gone on vacation because Pixel Monsters Go doesn't do anything special. World of Final Fantasy Maxima.
Tick tock.
World of Final Fantasy shares plenty of similarities with the classic Pokemon RPGs. The story follows twins Lan and Rain, who suffer from amnesia and conveniently have no memory of their past. Feels very Pokemon. Now, it's on this list, so obviously creatures much like Pokemon can be captured and trained for battle. First released in 2016, the games later received an enhanced version, World of Final Fantasy Maxima, in 2018. This upgrade added even more mirages to collect and brought in famous Final Fantasy characters. It fleshed it out to give it a bit more Final Fantasy in its world of.
Spy another mirage.
That is the call to Choco Chick. What are you waiting for? Go on and imprison the it.
Okay.
City Spirits Go. When Pokemon Go launched in July 2016, it took the world by storm. Nothing says exercise like running chin first into lampposts. Meanwhile, China never got the official release, so what was the solution? A blatant clone, of course. City Spirit Go is free to download but packed with microtransactions, features a mascot suspiciously similar to Pikachu, and offers plenty of unique creatures to catch, minus the unique. It's basically Pokemon for people who like their monster hunting 100% virtual and 0% fun. Cassette Beasts. Let's finish our list with some shameless knockoffs that are actually pretty good. First, we have Cassette Beasts. Cassette Beasts introduced fresh ideas and mechanics that set it apart within the creature collecting genre, offering impressive depth with 120 monsters and over 14,000 possible fusions. Let me say that again so it sinks in. 14,000. Its charming art style pairs perfectly with an inventive co-op battle system, making battles feel both familiar and slightly less likely to make your neighbors call the cops. Palworld. Palworld exploded onto the scene in early 2024 and continues to enjoy massive popularity. Though it was first marketed as Pokemon with guns, the game quickly proved to be much more, blending in base building, crafting, and survival mechanics. Now our cute little monsters might also be plotting to steal our shotgun. For players without a Nintendo console, it served as a fantastic alternative to Pokemon. With its mix of familiar creature battles and survival elements, Palworld appeals not only to Pokemon enthusiasts, but also to anyone who's tired of their starter Pokemon politely waiting for orders instead of, blowing shit up. Did you enjoy this video? Check out these other clips from MojoPlays and be sure to subscribe and ring the bell to be notified of our latest videos.